Welcome to the Mrs. R Relevant Daily Draft Podcast, joined by EJ. Andrew is putting his kids to bed. He should be here shortly. EJ, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Question, do we have to call him Councilman Andrew now, or how do we address him?
So I knew he was running for office, but I didn't actually know what position it was. So councilman, yeah. So the big news is that Andrew won an election on Tuesday. So he was running for office and he won that. So I'm sure we will be bantering about that when he appears on the podcast. But definitely congratulations to Andrew. Mm-hmm. And I also hope that your kids go to bed event free. Yeah. I remember those days when my kids are 17 now, so I haven't had to put kids to bed. My kids usually put me to bed.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that no more.
I was watching the Denver game, and that defense looks unreal.
Out of this mind. Yeah, I got it on in the background. They got so many guys. It's like Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper and all them. They're really getting after it.
Yeah. So that's going to be a team that I think we're going to see play deep into January.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We was up by 20 on them and they just came right on back. They stole that game from the Eagles. Eagles should have beat them, but oh well.
Yep. So we are here to finish the deep dive into the running back class. And the running backs that we are going to cover today are Kaden Feagin from Illinois, CJ Baxter from Texas, Jamari Taylor from Virginia, Nick Singleton from Penn State, Justice Haynes from Michigan, Jonah Coleman from Washington, and then we're going to finish with Jeremiyah Love from Notre Dame. We did have about 4 other players on the podcast. The grades didn't come back draftable, so we're just, let's say, going to shelve them to keep the podcast to a reasonable length. But EJ, what did you have on Kaden Feagin from Illinois?
You want a big time bruising power back. You want the thunder part of your thunder and lightning. This is your guy. 6'3", 255, and usually some schools they'll fudge these heights and weight. He's every bit of 250 pounds, and 6'3", 6'2", 6'1", it don't even matter. But the point is he's a whole 250 pounds, and he runs like it. The thing with that type of size is, does he have the footwork or speed to match? He doesn't necessarily have a ton of lateral quickness, but he does have some. He does have some build up speed. So if he gets ahead of steam, he can just run over some guys. Think AJ Dillon with the Packers. He's that type of player. He's got thick lower half, big in the upper body. If you have to bring your lunch pail if you want to come tackle this guy, because he will run you over. He's a strictly downhill runner. He's one of these guys I talked about last week, where you don't want him as an offset tailback a ton. You rather have him in the pistol formation where he can get ahead of steam and then run into the line of scrimmage, because that's what he is. He's a straight north-south type of runner. He can, as far as change of direction goes, there's nothing dynamic about his change of direction, but he can weave, and he has a little bit of flexibility to weave and contort his body to try to have blockers slip off of him. That, along with his natural power and pad level, that helps for him to break tackles. But at the next level, he's not. I wouldn't say you want him to be your feature back, but you want him in your running back rotation when you need short yardage, when you need to just your 4-minute drill, when you need to just run the ball down the defense's throat. This is your guy. He's your standard issue power running back.
So you definitely have a draftable grade on Kaden Feagin.
Yeah. I'm guessing it'll be in around the day 3 range. Because pretty much he's in a specified role. I don't see him being much of a every down running back. His role will pretty much is clear cut, but is a place for that in the league. So so definitely I have a draftable grade on him.
Okay. So the next running back, CJ Baxter from Texas. Now he was coming back from an injury. He missed all of last year. He hasn't been on the field much this year, but what did you see from CJ Baxter?
Yeah, like the thing with him is just like get healthy so we can see him consistently. Because from the little that we saw week 1 against Ohio State, and it looked pretty good. Like he 6'1", 227. He had some burst, he had some quickness, he had some change of direction. This was a highly touted athlete coming out of high school. So he has all the athletic traits that you want in your running back. It's just the fact for him right now, you just need to stay healthy so you can just properly evaluate what type of player he is. Because pretty much I think he had 2 weeks where he was decently healthy. He had about 10 carries against Ohio State, about 13 carries the next week. But then he just got a nagging hamstring injury. With the hamstring injuries, they can linger on for a couple of weeks. But right now, he's just now getting back into the swing of things. So he hasn't had any notable carries. I think like the past couple of weeks, like less than 10 carries. So it's really not much you can see with him. But we know the talent is there. You can go all the way back to, I think, was it 2023? You can see the talent is there. But we just need to see it on a consistent basis, and we need to see him stay healthy first and foremost. We need to see that he can take the pounding. We need to see that he can pretty much be available. But that's the thing about him. We just need to see more of CJ Baxter in order to properly evaluate him.
And so you think he's most likely going back to school, right?
Probably. If he declares, I think he'll get drafted, but it'll be a lot later than what he really should be. And medicals are going to be huge for him.
Okay, so Jamari Taylor from Virginia. I remember he wasn't on anybody's preseason lists, but my understanding was he was scoring a lot of touchdowns for Virginia early in the year, put himself on the draft radar. What is your draft assessment of Jamari Taylor from Virginia?
He's a nice little player. He's not. I mean, I don't mean to say that he's a nice little player, like to downgrade him, but he's a guy that he'll probably go on day 3. But he's a guy that you can use as your third down type of back. He's one of those 6-year players, so he's been around for a while. I watched him versus Florida State. They run some zone with him. He has a little bit. He just has a little bit of everything, but nothing really outstanding. No amazing A trait. But they run some zone with him. He has some foot quickness to get in and out of gaps, to stick his foot in the ground and change direction. Now, I think that's where he's best at, trying to change direction in space. It's nothing really super explosive, but it gets the job done. He's a guy that he does have some lateral quickness, so he can be patient. He can dance behind the line of scrimmage a little bit and then get north and south. He can make some guys miss. He has a low center of gravity at that 5'9", 204. So where he may not be the most powerful running back, but he has a low center of gravity, so he can still run through some tackles, and guys won't be able to get enough leverage on him in order to bring him down. So he's a decent player. I got him as more of a third down type of rotational back at the next level, but more so a day 3 type of grade.
What do you think of Jamari Taylor's ability to pass block?
He's not that big and not that powerful, so he's a guy that I always say lose really slow. Just make yourself into a speed bump so you can just slow the guy down in order to buy some time for your quarterback.
Got it. So, Andrew, congratulations on winning your election.
Yeah, it's been a very busy 48 hours. I'm tired.
Yeah.
So, do we have to call you councilman now? That was EJ's question.
What? I didn't hear it. What?
Do we have to call you councilman?
Lord, no.
We call you the councilman.
No, we're good on that front. We'll stick with me, Andrew.
Do you want to tell everybody what you think of Jamari Taylor from Virginia?
From what I heard of EJ, it's really a lot of the same. Like when I watched him, it was like you can tell when you watch a guy if he likes contact or not. Like there's not a question with him. Like he literally just seeks it out. Like there was one run I was watching, I can't remember the game. He had a hole that he could have hit either outside or in, and he kind of chose the middle because he just wanted to be able, I think, to run over somebody, which I'm all for. But you also get some extra yards when you find your running lane. So, yeah, I head down there, not afraid of contact, albeit when he is getting contact, he keeps his balance and his momentum. Good vision at times when he's not looking to just hit somebody, and then keeps his legs moving and falls forward all the time to pick up extra yards. So how EJ described him is, I think, perfect. RB3 in a rotation. Like I think of with the Bucks, they have that right now with Josh Williams, where with Bucky Irving out, they have Rashad White and Sean Tucker out there. Williams gets a couple goal line carries just to kind of beat up defenders, I feel like, at times. And you brought up his pass blocking. I didn't see much of it that made me too excited, but the way he plays, I would think that is something he'd be very excited to do. But I didn't see a lot of flashes with it.
Okay. I'm going to go backwards a couple. So we removed about 4 of the players prior to the podcast because EJ didn't have draftable grades on them. But what was your assessment on CJ Baxter? Was it return to school, or do you think he gets drafted?
I think he's athletic enough to go, and I think the combine would be enough to kind of get him to get drafted potentially. Where's my? See, I don't know if my notes are organized. Jeopardy music, killing time music. I'm so prepared, you know.
That's all right. That's all right. You have to learn to filibuster for yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a way. No, I'm an idiot. You know why? It's because I had it up in a Google Doc. See, this is how I'm doing. No, I had on there dual threat out of the backfield compared to Wisner. They actually graded out very close to each other. I had Baxter above just because I thought he was a little bit more explosive, and with his size, I thought it was pretty impressive. He got my quote unquote microwave badge, where I feel like he can heat up at any moment. Good awareness and vision. Can be physical when he has to pick up extra yards. I'm not saying plug him in at the goal line anytime soon, but if he needs to run over someone, I think he has the ability to do it. And then I really liked his footwork and route running as well whenever he was able to flash it. Texas, I feel like, has started to do a lot more of that with Arch, where they kind of doing that early on in game scripts to kind of get him comfortable, which is both good and bad at the same time, or sad, I guess is a better way to put it. Mm-hmm. But no, I think Baxter, again, another rotation guy. I definitely think he could get drafted. Like I said, the testing, I think, is where he'll shine the most. I think his testing will be much more impressive than any film. But as we've seen in extreme examples, that's enough for the Bengals to take Shamar Stewart in the first round with very little production on edge. And we've seen guys fall because of that, and then they're able to pop up and get an opportunity to do so.
Okay, and then Kaden Feagin from Illinois. What did you think?
I liked him a lot more than his teammate. I had down here good size, fluidness to his style, downhill runner, which is okay. I always feel like that gets brought up with guys that can kind of have a negative tone. I think Kaden Feagin makes it work for him. Also for how big he is and how stiff he can kind of move. I did kind of like whenever they used him a little bit out of the backfield, run through arm tackles, good initial burst at the line, track background in high school, highest graded Illinois running back they've had since 2009. So he was a big get for them. Yeah, I mean, I liked him a little bit more. I think I had, he got a day 3 grade from me. So he was well above his teammate who I had a UDFA on. So, yeah, I think he's another guy who, again, I'm not saying he's going to lead a backfield, but he could be a reliable RB2, I think, given the right situation.
Okay, and it's funny because EJ, I think, said almost
the same thing.
The same thing. Okay, which brings us to Nick Singleton. So, Andrew, What did you think?
Much like Katron Allen, going back in the Wayback Machine, when I covered Penn State, it was that freshman class. Singleton was in there. He's really the same as he was as a freshman, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but I think it could, I would like to see a little bit more development out of him. I remember screaming to the rooftops as a freshman. I don't know why they didn't use him more as a receiver, because I truly feel like that skill set is there for him to just exploit the hell out of. And just, I stand by it. Penn State, is bad for Drew Aller. It's bad for Katron Allen. It's bad for Trevor Pena. It's bad for Nick Singleton. Only person that's been able to make a career out of it's been Tyler Warren, but he's a unicorn. But yeah, Singleton, I think he's very explosive out of the backfield. Really good vision. I think the speed is deceptive. I don't think he's got great long speed, but if you want him to win 100 to 200 meter dash type of situation, I think he could do it. I don't think he can finish the long ones yet. But I really want to see him used as a receiver more, and that we've seen that a bunch with running backs. My favorite example is always Melvin Gordon, which feels like such a throwback now, which is sick to my stomach thinking about it as that. But coming out of Wisconsin, I think he had less than 20 catches, but then he goes to the Chargers and he's getting 50 catches a year or something crazy. Yep. I think Singleton's the same way, where I like pairing him in mock drafts to someone or somewhere like a Baltimore, where Derrick Henry's clearly the guy, but they like to have a change of pace back in there. And I think that's where Singleton can really thrive and carve out a role. He could be a day two guy and carve that out. The Bucs did it with Bucky Irving, where they had Rachaad White and they drafted Bucky to back him up, and eventually they just gave the role to Irving. I think Singleton in the right spot could do the same thing. He has the skill set to be one of the 32 starters in the league. I really think Penn State has held him back in his development to get there.
Now, do you think Baltimore would have to use a day two pick to get Singleton?
Again, the James Franklin effect. I think he's probably – I could see him being a top of day three guy, and in one of those ones where you go to show a big board of best available and Singleton's towards the top. Just because the running back position is also devalued, and so many starters are found on day two, late day two, early day three. So I think he's someone that, again, early day three, fantasy people are going to fall in love with him wherever he lands, I feel like, because kind of like how RJ Harvey was in Denver. They had J.K. Dobbins come in there, and obviously Dobbins has been the guy, but Harvey's carved out little pieces here and there. I think Singleton, again, just to give another idea for a situation to be productive, that's where those types of guys thrive, is just kind of capitalizing on the little scraps they're given until they're forced to be given full plates of food, so to speak.
Yeah, because I can only imagine the riots in Baltimore if they spend a day two pick on a running back with Derrick Henry still on the roster.
He looked rough at the start of the season, but he's getting his legs back under him.
Yeah. EJ, where are you and Nick Singleton right now?
He might be one of the better athletes at the position in this class, because I think he's going to test very well. He's a Penn State guy, so something's in the water at Penn State. Their guys test very well. I think he's going to run a good 40. I think he's going to jump a good broad jump and a high jump, vertical jump, all of that. I think he is a good athlete. My issues with him is just the technical aspects of the game. Like Andrew said, they don't utilize him as a pass receiver much. I think he would do well with that, because I think he with more open space, I think he would be a better player. So I think he could function as a souped up third down type of back. But my issues with him is I think he needs to widen his field vision, because usually with running backs, they can keep an eye on the cutback lane. They can see what's going on front side, and they can see what's going on in the middle. They can find a hole. Nick Singleton tends to have tunnel vision every now and then, to where he's just going to run up his offensive lineman's back, or he's just going to run straight downhill when there's a hole that's coming open, but to his left or to his right, but he just doesn't see it. example of that is I watched versus UCLA. So it's in the second quarter. It's 1st and 10. Penn State is in 12 personnel, and they're trying to run outside zone. And UCLA has a 7-man front. So the numbers are favorable for Penn State. They got 12 personnel. It's only a 7-man front, 2 stack linebackers, four down linemen, and you got your nickel defender creeping up. So they run their outside zone, and it's a cutback lane. They run the outside zone to the field side. So everybody's going to the right. That's where all your offensive linemen have their leverage. They have their cutoff blocks. All he had to do is keep on going to the right. He has the speed to turn the corner. He just keep going to the right. He just puts his head down and goes forward directly into a defender's chest. And he gets about 2 or 3 yards, but he could have got 6 or 7 yards. And it's that's just not a one-time thing. That is a repeated act with him. Say like they running inside zone. And the thing about it, running back coaches tell you follow your double teams. That's your most dependable block because you got 2 guys. Cut off your center's butt on the inside zone. The double teams are there. They're running duo. They're running inside zone. The double teams are there. The holes are there. He's not hitting it. Especially mainly it's like he does the opposite. So when they run a toss sweep to the outside, he immediately is cutting it straight up the field because he thinks he sees a hole there. He thinks he can get to it. But if you just string it out, you have the speed to turn the corner. Just keep on going around the corner. So that's a frustrating thing, and that's probably part of the reason why he's not seeing as much carries as Katron Allen is. So and another thing is watching that UCLA game, his pass block. He had his pass blocking it wasn't great. There's a linebacker coming on the blitz, and he tried. He got the quarterback's head knocked off. He tried to block him, but the thing is, when you're blocking, you do not dip your head when you block. You need to see what you're blocking because that's a moving target. So he dips his head and lunges forward, and he's lunging forward to air because the defender just did the ole on him, and he's on his way to the quarterback. That very next play, he was out of the game, and Katron Allen was in there, and Katron Allen was in there for the rest of the half. We didn't see Nick Singleton until the third quarter. That's part of the reason why his production isn't like what it is, because it's the little nuances of the game that he's not getting. Either he's not taking the coaching or the coaching is not being given to him. So the talent is there. He is raw. He's rough around the edges as a player. If he can get with the right running back coach at the next league, at the next level, then they can have him. He could be a 1,000-yard rusher and a Pro Bowl back. He has that type of talent, but it's a work in progress. He needs to iron out those issues of the game. Vision, usually in my experience, either you have it or you don't. So if he doesn't have it, he needs more of a paint by numbers running scheme. He needs more of a outside zone, pick your hole is right there, take it. This is your aiming point here, take it. Toss sweep here, just run around the corner, be out athlete somebody around the corner. Or like Andrew said, get him out in space, toss him the ball on passing routes. That makes it a little bit easier. And he has more space to operate in. So that's what I think that's his role would be, more of a third down back starting off until we can see more consistent vision, because part of that vision is processing, which we're going to talk about with Jeremiyah Love, because I think he has excellent processing. But processing is, with running backs, it's just like the quarterback position. You have to decipher what's happening with the defensive front in a half a second. And some guys can do that, some guys can't. And partly with Nick Singleton is, if he's not processing right, he's just going to get straight downhill. And some guys can sit there and process and see where the blocks is going, see where their leverage is, and then take the right hole. Nick Singleton probably isn't there yet. So I would say he's very much a draftable prospect, because I think he's going to tear up the combine, and I think like the fantasy football kids are going to really, really like him. But it's just that he's going to have to iron out his game. He's going to have to take a lesser role at the next level to start off until he can iron out his vision problems and pretty much iron out the rest of his game.
If I can say one thing real fast before we put a bell on Singleton.
We've got plenty of time.
Okay. I I stand by, like I joked about how Tyler Warren was like a unicorn and the only person to be creative in this offense. Like I would almost swear in court that they have these guys scared to be creative. Like just anytime you watch like Aller, I wanted Aller to transfer so bad. And a credit to him being loyal to James Franklin and Penn State and that. And like a prime example being Coach Zelnicki, who's their offensive coordinator. He was at Kansas before. When Jalen Daniels was explosive and fun, he was a part of that. When they had Devin Neal, he was explosive and really fun to watch. And then he comes to Penn State, and all due respect to Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal, but Singleton and Allen and Drew Aller are better talents at those positions than those guys are. And yet somehow, like, it's like just a bunch of cavemen looking at a bunch of twigs waiting for him to catch fire. Like it just, I don't know what's happening with Penn State. That's why I'm so excited, and I hate to root for anyone to be fired, but like that program has so much potential with those players. Like they should not be winning games in the Big Ten 20-13, 24-17. Exactly. It's like I read today, I did not put much stock into it, but somebody suggested Josh Heupel going from Tennessee to Penn State. You want to talk about going from 0 to 60? You can go from James Franklin and this boring offense to an air raid in Penn State. I don't know if state college people are going to know what to do with the air raid offense on a Beaver Stadium field. But again, if they're in the right spot where they're able to be creative, like again, Tyler Warren, I don't know how he did it, but he was the unicorn, and everybody else 5-star. The talent's there, and they go in there, and the world goes from being a bunch of rainbows to black and white. It's just insane, or blue and white.
Yeah,
I guess
especially because they're borderline Iowa level with their passing game, with their pass. And you look at Drew Aller, it's like if you remove him from that position, I guarantee you, when he gets drafted, it's probably going to be later on in the draft. Some team, you're going to see him in 2 years, and we're going to be like, where did this guy come from? What a story of development, this, and that. Because, like, he has all the talent is there. He just needs to be in a better situation. And for years and years and years, he has. I mean, look at the Penn State had Will Levis, Drew Aller. They've had talent. They can get talent, no problem. They can't develop it.
Look at Will Levis. He goes to Kentucky and is super explosive. And albeit his pro career didn't pan out, but like you take the training wheels off the guys, and oh my gosh, the 5-star quarterbacks that you get in are creative. Like I remember Drew Aller coming out of high school, like when I was covering Penn State, like he was getting Josh Allen comparisons, which obviously proved to be horrifically not on the nose at all, not even hitting the face, but. Like he has that ability, has that skill set, but again, just I don't know. I swear they have them just scared to be creative.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing about it is like when you see guys picking apart his game when he was playing, and it's like what you got to judge the player on the options he was given, and like when he's sitting behind a pocket holding the ball too long, that's because nobody's open. Like nobody's open, and like granted. He did have bad habits, but the bad habits were made because of a poor offensive environment in front of him. That's what created the bad habits. But
and it goes into the running backs to bring it back to Singleton. Exactly. Like Singleton should not be this lackluster of a watch. Like he should be fun and explosive, and he isn't right now. But I think again, classic case of guy gets drafted becomes way more entertaining right away.
Yep.
Okay. Justice Haynes. So did we move up from Singleton to Haynes, EJ?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess. I mean, all right. So with Justice Haynes, first of all, I think he just got hurt. So we don't know if he's going to make it back this season. But with Justice Haynes, he had I grade him a little bit on the curve because I think he had a tougher time than a lot of these other running backs. From what I watched him against Michigan State. and I watched him against Oklahoma. Just in those 2 games, the amount of 8-man boxes he saw, because nobody really was respecting Michigan's passing game. So you could see how close the safeties crept up. They kept 8 in the box, and he still was productive. The part about that is they ran a lot of zone with him. I think they ran a lot of outside zone, a lot of inside zone. He's that type of runner. He's that type of guy where he's not going to dance a whole lot, but he will put his foot in the ground and get north-south in a hurry. He has just enough speed to break off a chunk play. There's nothing outstanding about his speed and explosiveness, but he has enough there to get, the 15, 20-yard gain. He had a foot injury. So they said he was in a walking boot and he had his ankle in one of those strollers. So we don't know if he's going to make it back this season or not. But basically, yeah, I think he's a zone runner. You could see him put him in San Francisco. He'll be a solid runner. He'll have a lot of success there because he's best in that zone type of scheme where he just wants to put his foot in the ground, pick it. So he has the vision to pick his hole. You can tell he's experienced in his outside zone running because he knows where his holes are coming. He knows where his cutback is. He knows when to string it out to the sideline. He knows when to cut it upfield. So he can get through his holes, especially with that 8-man box. He has some strength to run through some tackles once he gets his momentum going. But I think he's a solid guy, rotational type of player. But that's where he's best at as a one-cut north-south runner. But I would say he's battle tested. Because he faced a bunch of heavy boxes, and that front seven in Oklahoma is pretty daggone good. That's what I wanted to watch him against there. But if the blocks is there, he can get what's blocked for him. So he's able to recognize where his offensive linemen are leveraged, the defensive linemen, so he can just cut off of them. So he's a solid running back. They don't throw him the ball, but they don't throw anybody the ball much at Michigan, but they don't throw the ball much. I think he does have some upside as a receiver. At the very least, a check down guy, a wheel route guy, but we'll have to see that later on, maybe at the Senior Bowl. But definitely a draftable grade.
So, Andrew, what do you think of Justice Haynes?
I like Justice Haynes a lot. And it's funny for background. I saw it said his dad was Verone Haynes, and I was like, is that the Steeler running back? And I looked because, like, growing up in the area, I have like 50 obscure Steeler running backs from Verone Haynes all the way to Amos Zaraway to, like, we could go on and on. But I thought it was funny that name popped up and I never put 2 and 2 together. And then another fun, like, background we talked about before. I can't remember which running back it was, averaged almost 9 yards a carry in high school. 1 year Haynes averaged 11.1 yards per carry. Like, what are you supposed to do with that if you're playing him? But yeah, no,
average a first down.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just hand it off to him 9 times and you got a touchdown. You get pinned inside the one every time and it doesn't matter. But yeah, I like Haynes a lot too. The Oklahoma game, I remember watching on TV and was impressed by him. And then going back and watching it, like you talked about, Venables in that defense. Like, you don't usually associate Oklahoma with good defenses anymore. And Venables has that squad playing arguably the best defense in the SEC right now, which is a sentence I don't think I'd ever said in my lifetime. But no, like, good contact balance, vision, runs through arm tackles. I like how he keeps his speed when he cuts outside and goes up the sideline. Like, sometimes you can see guys where, not that they slow down, but they can't even keep their momentum as they do that. Like, Haynes, I think, does a really good job of that. Good movement in space, I think, can surprise for his build. I'm interested to see how tall he is. I didn't have any verified or anything like that. And I feel like he has to weigh maybe a little bit more than 210, but no, I think everything EJ said's spot on. And like I said, I really like him. Like, whenever I write my weekly thing for running backs for Vikings fans to watch, before his foot injury, I was always plugging when Justice Haynes played, because I thought for the Vikings, They've been having a little bit of success with Jordan Mason, and also Aaron Jones can't stay healthy now, unfortunately. But I think Haynes would be really good in the Vikings. Like you talked about the 49ers, I think getting a little bit of a Michigan backfield between McCarthy and him would be good. So definitely a guy, again, you get a value on, and then he plays really well, and you're like, what the heck's happening? So, yeah, I like Justin Haynes a lot.
Okay. As I'm listening to both of you, I think your grades are day 3 on Justice Haynes. Is that did I hear you? Even though neither of you said it, that's what I think I heard.
Yeah, I think he's right on that borderline between day 2, day 3. Because if he has, if he tests well, I think somebody could reach for him in like the 3rd round or something like that. But more likely, probably 4th round or beyond.
Yeah, I had a day 2, but it was a late day 2. Like He's one of those guys, again, kind of like he's around the same grade as Singleton. So he's one of those guys where running back is so tough because like I have my players sorted by days, and I look at all the running backs I have. I'm like, there's no way these many guys are going to go on day 2. But that's again where they become the value picks on day 3 for a team where they're the ones who make a GM look really good at the end of the day. Where you can go through a class and say, well, he drafted 4 starters and 2 of them came on day 3, and it's the running back. So I think Haynes is going to fit in well somewhere. It's just a matter of where. But yeah, I think there's a couple spots where he could thrive. San Francisco, when you said it, I was like, oh my God, he's your classic Isaac Arendo or whoever else you want to throw in there, Jordan Mason before he got to Minnesota. Guy McCaffrey gets hurt. He steps in and runs for 120 yards on 23 carries. And you're like, okay.
Okay, so question. So, EJ, if I remember correctly, to 5 weeks ago, right? Long time ago in podcast land.
That's a lifetime ago.
Yeah, we covered Raleek Brown. I believe that's Arizona.
Arizona State, yeah.
Oh, Arizona State. I'm sorry. You had a day 2 on Raleek Brown. Do you like Raleek Brown more than Singleton and Haynes?
Oh, that's a tough one. I did like Raleek Brown a lot. I would have to watch them both again, but I everything they're very close as prospects. But I do remember I liked Raleek Brown a lot. So if I gave him a day 2 grade, then I'm gonna keep it there.
Okay. And then Andrew, you were a little bit lower on Raleek Brown, but basically the argument was, is it late day 2 or early day 3?
Yeah, they're
day 3 on Raleek Brown. How do you stack up like Raleek Brown, Justice Haynes, and Nick Singleton?
So if you want me to, like, in terms of where they're at in that order, I would have Singleton, Haynes, and then Brown.
Okay.
Singleton, I have a late round 2 on, and then Haynes, I've got a late round 3, and then Brown is like top of round 4. So they're all pretty close. But Singleton for me, like I said, I don't know if it's just because I remember how they were as freshmen and I know what they can be. I'm probably going to be higher on the Penn State guys at running back than most people, just because I just think they need to get a break.
Got it. Okay, so 2 running backs to go. Randall Slifer has Jonah Coleman as RB1. Now, prior to the podcast, I checked with Andrew and EJ, and they said, no, that's Jeremiyah Love. But Jonah Coleman, Andrew, what do you think?
One of my good friends covers Washington, and I remember when I saw the picture of Jonah Coleman, like when he got to Washington, if anyone looks it up, like when he got to Washington, like the body transformation to like how he is now, like he looks like Catskills, New York, 1980s Mike Tyson right now. Like it's insane how muscular this guy is. And for being, usually when you're that muscular, you gas out quickly. Like that's just, again, another boxing comparison. That was something I always remember hearing Freddie Roach talk about when Manny Pacquiao would fight muscle guys. He always loved it because they gas out. But Coleman doesn't. Like he's just a battering ram. And it's hilarious to watch him with Washington. And Washington's offense in general this year is pretty fun. I get where you can have him as an RB1. He was a top of round 2 guy for me. just to put in a comparison that's not like a kiss of death or anything, if everybody forgets, DeAndre Swift and Jonathan Taylor were top of round 2 guys. Nick Chubb was a top of round 2 guy, if I recall, before his knee exploded a second time. So that's kind of the sweet spot, I feel like, to really make an impact. But yeah, Coleman, I think, has great vision, physical runner, really surprises you with his receiving skills. I think he's honestly one of the better receiving backs that we've covered. I'd put him up there with like a Jadarian Price and a Jeremiah Love, who we're going to talk about. I think that's where he really separates himself. Like I would make the case that he's the best one at catching out of the backfield. He's somebody that, even though he's a round 2 guy, like if you draft him, I would think you're going to play him day one. If you've got an expiring contract on a guy and you don't want to pay a free agent extra money because you know there's so many guys in the draft, I think Coleman is definitely worth investing in. Like I said, the vision, the strength, the work ethics there, because the way his body's transformed since he got to Washington, was loyal to Jed Fish, went up there from Arizona. So no, I like Coleman a lot. Just not RB1, he's RB2. And I think it's RB2 with a permanent marker at this point, barring something crazy. Jadarian Price is given a run for his money, but Coleman right now is still above him.
Cool. EJ, Jonah Coleman.
Yeah. I mean, he's a solid RB2. I mean, I'm not mad at if somebody wants to put him at RB1 because, I mean, you know exactly what you're getting. He's a plug and play starting running back. Is he really 189 pounds? Because he looks.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to go look it up on PFF. I believe I pulled all these off of PFF, but I'll go look that up for you while you finish doing your thing.
Yeah.
I have a verified measurement for him, actually. He's 5'8", 227.
Okay, that's more.
So that's what I mean. Like, he probably weighed 189 when he got to Washington.
When he came in. Yeah.
Like, literally, when I say 1980s Mike Tyson, like, without the pads and the jersey on, this man looks like you just beat the bejesus out of you.
Yeah.
5'8", 227.
Yeah.
He's rock. When they call running backs bowling balls, this is what they're talking about. This guy is like super rocked up. But like, yeah, he's a legit plug and play running back. You can give him 20 carries a game and he will not wear down. With him is like he's got low center of gravity. He's got power to run through tackles. He has good burst. Not necessarily elite long speed, but he's got excellent burst to get past the line of scrimmage. So he can still get you the chunk plays. He has some quickness in his move. He's not the most gifted laterally, but he has enough quickness to get where he needs to go and pretty much to avoid defenders. But his whole thing is he's going to run through you or he's going to run away from you. That's pretty much the meat and potatoes of him as a runner. He's not one to he's not going to give you the flashy juke moves or anything like that. He has some creativity in him, but it's nothing like high level elite or anything like that. It's not like Bijan Robinson level type. But what I had on him is I watched him versus Michigan, and they ran a lot of zone with him, inside zone, split flow, inside zone, and outside zone, and he's excellent at all of it. He's got excellent vision. He sets up his blocks. When I was talking about processing before, he's another one. He processes. He knows where his offensive linemen have leverage at. So when the offensive line has leverage, that means he is moving the defender in a certain way. So you're going to cut off of his back and go the opposite way where there is no danger. He does that to a T, especially in the outside zone. He knows exactly when his center is climbing to the second level. So he makes his cut off of that and he gets his extra yards. And once he's been touched, somebody has them in his grasp, he always gets an extra couple of yards. He always falls forward because he has that type of leg drive and that type of strength. Again, I didn't see a ton of top end speed, no elite speed. So I don't think he's not going to blaze a 4.3 or anything like that at the combine, but he has good enough speed. He has good enough speed to make the chunk plays. Excellent contact balance, almost best in the class. It's hitting him is like hitting a fire hydrant. You're going to move before the fire hydrant does. I think he can be. He's more than a check down receiver. He's a guy that you can run your middle screens, your angle routes, your wheel route. He doesn't have the hips to be like a high end route runner as far as a receiver, but he's got excellent hands, and he can catch whatever's thrown to him, and he's decent out in space. So the only reason why I have him number 2 is because I think that Jeremiyah Love has a little bit more upside as a receiver than he does, but that's taking nothing away from what Jonah Coleman is, because he's more of a complete running back. The comp that came to mind when I watched him was Josh Jacobs. Pretty much just a solid runner, able to sustain drives, guys that you can just give the ball over and over and over again, and he can just keep on getting you positive yardage. So that's how I see Jonah Coleman. I would say, because he's not going to test out of this water, I'll say he'll probably go in the second round, but he's just a plug and play starting running back.
Okay. The star of the show and probably the most popular RB1, if your name isn't Randall Slifer, is Jeremiyah Love from Notre Dame. And like Randall started draft professor with me, so that's me teasing him. I'm not throwing any shade. But EJ, why is Jeremiyah Love your RB1?
I think he might be the most dynamic running back in the class. It's so much that you can do with him. He's a threat as a receiver, even though they're just now getting to use him as a receiver more so this season, but you can see the upside that he has as a receiver, and you see he's just a tremendous athlete. He's not that super explosive type of guy, but he's the fluidity and the flexibility that he has. Pair that with the excellent vision that he has. What I had on him, just like pretty much just a super fluid athlete. He does a good job at the line. This is what the really good running backs do. They press the line of scrimmage. What I mean by that is they see what hole they want to get to, but they want to manipulate the defense in order to widen that hole. So they'll run straight up into the line of scrimmage, and then when that sucks the defense in, and at the last minute they'll cut to the hole that they originally wanted to go to, and that hole is even wider, and now you got a chunk play going. He does that on a regular basis, and that's what the running backs with the excellent vision, that's what they do. They press the hole. Another thing is, like, he processes well. He sets up his blockers. He knows, he's got outside zone. He knows where his blocks are going to come from, and he knows where the defenders are going to be. So he makes his cuts off of that. So he's running through holes. Say like he's running towards a hole. It's not open yet, but it's going to open as soon as he gets there. That's the type of vision, and that's the type of processing he has. They do a lot of gap scheme runs. Gap scheme runs involve a lot of patience, because you have to wait for your pulling offensive lineman. Sometimes they're a little slow getting across the line of scrimmage, so you got to wait for them, and you got to pretty much wait for them to set up their blocks and get to their blocks before you can make your move. He does a good job of timing up his footwork to match along with his offensive lineman's footwork, so that way as they're reaching the defender, he's already running past them. And that's all timing, that's all footwork, that's all patience, vision, processing. He has all of that. He has everything that Nick Singleton doesn't have, he has. That's the difference between those two. And he pairs that with very good athletic ability as well. He's got speed for the chunk play. 6 foot 214. And the thing about that is 6 foot 214. He has a frame that will get bigger, because he still looks like a slender player. When you look at his legs, there's still some weight that he can put on, so he can be even more of a power runner after a couple of years into the league. So there's upside as a receiver as well. And the thing with that is, he's got I think it was a rep against, it was USC. They finally put him in a slot. He runs a simple out route, but he runs it like a wide receiver. He loses the defensive back. It was a safety, but he lost him, separated at the top of the route stem, and it was nothing major. He didn't even get the ball, but it just looked good. You look at the route and say, okay, that's legit. That's a legit route. That's the type of upside as a receiver he has. So he could be a dual threat type of running back straight from the rip. So like soon as plug and play, he's a weapon in your offense. I'm not sure you don't want to use him like you would use Jonah Coleman. I would say you want to use him like at least year one. You want to use Jeremiyah Love like you use Jahmyr Gibbs and let him work his way up into it, because he's that type of versatile. He's that type of running back where he can get you explosive plays however you get him the ball. But you don't want to run him into the ground. I don't think that's his game. He can sustain drives, but that's not where he's special at. So you want to keep him where he's special at. Only knock against him, I would say, but it's nitpicking. I think he lacks a ton of creativity in the open field, like because a lot of his game is similar to Bijan Robinson, but Bijan just has that make you miss ability that Jeremiyah Love doesn't quite have yet. But that's the only knock I would say against his game, is that he doesn't have that wow creativity in the open field to make a ton of guys miss. He's just either going to run by him or he's going to run over him. But that's when you're looking at that and he's in the open field, his job is already done because he's already 10, 15 yards down the field. So, yeah, I give him a late round 1 grade.
Andrew, do you land at the same place EJ did?
Yeah, he was my RB1. He got a first from me. He got like a middle first from me, so a little bit higher than EJ, but that's just my scale. I won't repeat a lot of it. Everything EJ said was hit the nail on the head. I will add my favorite thing about him. I think that not a lot of the guys in this class have. Coleman is one of them, but I think Love's home run threat is a little bit better than Coleman's. But I just think overall, like he gets a running lane, he's gone, and it's funny because like when you watch him, it doesn't look that way. Like he doesn't strike you as like the super athlete that some of these guys are, or this bruiser that some of the other ones are, but like he just does everything really well. And there's nothing he's great at, but he's just so well-rounded that, again, just like a Coleman, you can plug him in day one. The only difference is, I think, compared to Coleman is that I like Love as the pure running back more. Like Coleman is that X factor where you can do both. Love can do both as well, but like if you put him into a box and say you're only going to be a running back, we're not going to throw you the ball much, I think he still is the RB1. I don't know if Coleman is the RB1 when you do that. You talked about him flashing some athletic ability out of the backfield. I think that has to do with multi-sport background with track and basketball. 4-star guy, a couple more background notes in Missouri Gatorade Player of the Year. I've been seeing Love mocked. It's funny, like right in the middle of the first round. Like I had him in my mock yesterday. Or was it this morning? It was this morning. Again, busy week.
Days are so long. You know, you put kids to bed and you think it's the next day already.
Yeah, believe me. And but I have been mocking him to Arizona because they're right at the outside that top 10. They're like, I think they're 12 right now, 12, 13 range. Houston's another one where I think he can go in right away, be productive day one. But the one that I've been seeing him mock to a lot that I think is interesting and also could also make him like, if you want to talk about production, like an RB fantasy running back option, I've been seeing him mocked a lot to the Vikings as like the Vikings are kind of in the middle of that first round right now. They just got McCarthy back, so maybe they get some wins together and go outside the top half of the draft. But he fits almost every team that needs a running back. Like he's going to be worth a first round pick. It's always rich because, like, again, I was thinking about this where question I figured you might ask, Jim, but I'll get ahead of the curve a little bit here. Like, if you want to compare him to like previous RB1s like Bijan or Ashton Genty, I personally don't think he's close to them. Like Bijan and Genty were in a class of their own, a tier of their own. Love, like I said, is just really good at everything, but there's nothing where I'm like, oh my God, I have to have this guy. But it's one of those ones where if your team drafts him, you're like, oh, hell yeah. Like we've got running back figured out for at least the next 5 years while he's on that deal. So not like where when you get Bijan, you're like, oh my gosh, we got this dynamic playmaker or Ashton Jenney, where you got Michael Myers in the backfield, who's just going to stand there grimacingly and wait to find a running lane and make you pay for it. So he's not in that tier with everybody else, not even like a Jahmyr Gibbs, but he should be a hit for whoever gets him.
Yep. So, question for you, EJ. Can you think of who your top 5 running backs are right now?
Right now, probably Love. In no particular order. I ain't got it in an order, but the ones I like the most right now are Jeremiyah Love, Jonah Coleman, Jadarian Price, Raleigh Brown, and I guess I got to put Nick Singleton in there as number 5. But that's pretty much what I can think of right now. Because I was high on Jadarian Price as well. So, but yeah, I think that probably would be my top 5 right now.
Andrew, how about you? Who do you think your top 5 running backs are?
Pulling up my sheet, I've got Love comfortably at 1, Coleman at 2, Singleton at 3, and then right on his heels with a .03 difference in grade is Jadarian Price, and then 5th I have Katron Allen. So, 3 schools represent the top 5 running backs for me.
There you go. Okay. One other question. Okay. So Andrew, you cover 2 teams. You cover the Vikings and you cover the Bucks. Out of all the running backs that you've watched, if the Bucks draft a running back, which running back that we've covered do you think is most likely, based upon positional need for the team, which is relatively low, do you think would be added to the Bucks probably sometime on day 3?
Well, it's funny because Rachaad White's a free agent, and I don't know if they're going to pay him. I think it's going to be interesting what ends up with him. He's another guy I think that could go somewhere and start. I'm trying to think of somebody who fits White's mold. I don't think they would spend the cap. But, I mean, again, they spent a first on Igbuka. I think if they could get Coleman in the middle of round 2 to pair with Bucky Irving, I think you don't need to do that because Bucky's clearly the guy there.
And that's what I mean. So, like, if you have the guy, but you need the position, you'll probably that's where I was going to see if you could dig and see if you found a scheme fit on day 3.
I would probably say maybe Roman Hemby out of Indiana.
Okay.
I think he would be he's a dual threat guy, runs with a physical style, can pass block. If I'm going to give a more realistic option, I think a day 3 Roman Hemby pick would be right down Jason Light's alley.
Okay, so EJ, you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. You have Saquon Barkley. If the Eagles were to draft a running back, Howie Roseman probably does it on day 3.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know if Howie does day 2 running backs.
Yeah, he only does day 2 running backs when he wants a starter. But in day 3, Eagles have a type at running back. They want, first and foremost, they want to be their starter or in their rotation. They want their guys to be dual threat type of running back. You see Saquon, he's a dual threat guy. You see they drafted Will Shipley last year. He's more of a dual threat guy, running and receiving. They got him returning punts and kicks too. They drafted they got Montrell Johnson out of Florida as a UDFA last year. They like what he can do, but pretty much they like guys that are dual threat, they have the upside to have dual threat ability. So if you're looking possibly in a day 3 type of range, I would say, like Andrew said, like Roman Hemby. I would say some of them running back. Yeah, Raleigh
I was
Brown,
scrolling through. Is Jamarian Miller from Alabama a Philadelphia Eagles type?
Yeah. I mean, the whole Eagles roster is comprised of Alabama and Georgia players, so he would fit right in.
Well.
Yeah, he would fit right in. So, and he's that dual threat type of guy. I could see him being a Philadelphia Eagle.
Okay. And then Andrew, next question, because you also cover the Minnesota Vikings. So on all the running backs that we've covered, and I think of the three teams between you and EJ, I think the Vikings would be in the market to pick one the highest, right?
Yeah. They've also got like I think 12 picks this year. They've got 12. Which is hilarious because Quessy last year had 4. I think like that second round pick right now, if they're picking 15, so it'd be 47. If they could get a Jonah Coleman there, I think that'd be fantastic. Because this past weekend, Aaron Jones made his return before he hurt his shoulder, and Jordan Mason's been serviceable, but he doesn't have that pass catching ability out of the backfield, and that's something they really have thrived on with Aaron Jones, where he got cast out of Green Bay because they signed Jacobs. I think Coleman would fit that role fantastically, especially as a pass catcher, even if you want to keep doing a dual thing with Jordan Mason, who they signed to an extension. I think Coleman at 47 would be their dream fit. If it's not, then I don't know if there's really anybody else that speaks to me. Like I always mock them Darius Taylor day 3 just because of the Minnesota connection. Like they signed Brosmer as a UDFA, so they're aware of the guys that are in their backyard. Blake Cashman's there now. He went to Minnesota.
Darius Taylor.
Yeah, but Darius Taylor to me just is like great value Jordan Mason at times. Like
he's just a guy.
Doesn't excite me as much as a Jonah Coleman option where I think he could be a starter immediately if they took him at 47. And they've got the picks if they want to trade up a little bit to get him. They've shown they'll be aggressive. They traded up 4 or 5 picks when they got Dallas Turner. So Quessy, if he knows what he wants, he goes and gets it. I'll give him credit, albeit his draft history is horrific, but he is aggressive.
Okay, so we have to figure out what we're doing next week, and we're going to do it like live on the air right now. Do you guys want to do do you guys want to do your running back big board, or
I think we might as well
move on to another position?
Yeah, I think finish with running backs.
Yeah, put an exclamation point on running backs. Get the whole big board out of the way.
Okay, so any running backs that you think are graded in rounds 1 through 5, so basically top 150.
Okay, that works.
Okay, so we'll do that, and then the week after, you guys can cover whichever position in the draft, from now till April.
Cool.
So,
that works.
Cool. So running backs at the second position that's done. EJ finished tight ends a couple weeks ago. Finished running back. So we're moving our way up.
Right along,
Andrew, do you want to tell everybody about the election that you just won?
Oh, jeez.
As well as any other football content that you made.
Yeah, I won a city council election on Tuesday, and I was one of 4 people to win a seat there. And I'll make this joke. I won't get into like nobody cares about me talking about crosswalks and sidewalks in my town, but I will say I ran on the idea of I was like the only person running that didn't have a well-known last name. So like I joked, what do you got to lose with me sort of approach, and it worked. But back to football, same thing. It's kind of explained my media career. What do you got to lose with me? Find all my work on Bucks Wire and Vikings Wire as well. So Substack took a little bit of a break this week and I have a really good idea for what I'll do next week, but obviously the last 48 hours have been insane. So, but yeah, you can find me on Twitter at ManagerNFL.
EJ.
Yeah, pretty much you can find me right here on the Mrs. R Relevant podcast every Thursday, 9:00. You can find me at the end of the draft cycle. I'll be doing the Rogue Analytics Draft Guide. You can find my work there. And you can also find me on X or Twitter, where pretty much I'm doing scheme breakdowns, player breakdowns, a lot of NFL draft talk. And I will never, ever say the word generational, and I will never argue about what cover 4 is. So.
Oh, that was a new one.
Yeah, that was.
Well, welcome to Draft Professor, everybody. We're here twice a day, every weekday, 7 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 different shows. from now until December, every podcast is breaking down prospects. So the same way that Andrew and EJ broke down running backs, every other podcast is breaking down one position or another. And we're basically trying to figure out who the top 150 players are in the NFL draft. Right? So that's who we try to focus on when we podcast. So basically all the players drafted in rounds 1 through 5. So we're here. We can't do it without EJ and Andrew showing up. So give those two gentlemen a follow, please, and thank you. In addition to that, we have this awesome draft simulator, and that simulator can make the rankings graphics. So when EJ and Andrew are here next week, they will have made graphics with Draft Professor that show who their top running backs are. And we can put them up side by side, or we can, post them to Twitter or do whatever people do with pictures. So with that being said, for the 109 people at the Draft Professor, for myself, Jay Fletcher, thanks for stopping by. Lilia, thanks for stopping by. Thank you for watching. We will see you on a podcast again tomorrow.